This is DrGAKMAN here for what I'm gonna try to do a video series of Nintendo speculation and conspiracy theories. I'm calling it Nintendo Agenda. In the background you hear this music. This is the Super Mario Brothers cloud theme. The bonus stage is when you go up in the clouds. That's the theme that's playing. It's a familiar song. I don't know. This is being played on a 3DS. You go to the home menu, recognize that sound, or that song, that theme. Now listen to the friends list theme. Sort of similar, but you really hear it in the notifications. Doesn't it sound like that? Let's close out of this. If we slow it down, it even sounds like it more. Nintendo often does this with their user interface and operating system and their menus and stuff in their systems. They'll take older songs, familiar themes, and slow them down, change the pitch, the tone, in order to give you a sense of familiarity, but also make you think, well, what is that? I know I've heard that song before, and there it is. It's very modified and slower, but it's obviously the same thing. At least to me, anyway. As I do these Nintendo Agenda videos, I'm going to have, of course, speculation on Nintendo's future. The biggest rumors going around now are about the Project Cafe. And now I'm going to switch this video off and go over to controller speculation. Amongst the rumors, the biggest and wildest crazy idea about the controller is the fact that it has a built-in 6-inch screen. And instead of racking our brains over how they're going to do this, maybe it's more wise to think of why even have a 6-inch screen on the controller. AMD is working on a ability to wirelessly stream video to multiple screens, multiple resolutions, up to 720p is what they're working on for their next set of chips that are going to be coming out. I don't know exactly what they're going to be naming them. More research can be done on that later. But the case in point is AMD might be providing something like this for Nintendo. And so the screen wouldn't just be for VMU or heads-up display or social communication and touchscreen content. It's for an actual display of full games themselves. I mean, if it was just for VMU stuff, it could be done with a much smaller screen, but with a bigger 6-inch screen, that suggests that there's going to be more to it, and having full games on there themselves is I think the direction that the why in this situation. And why would Nintendo do this? Because Nintendo wants to make it easier to access your games. And I'll explain that later, but first let's look at some of the clues. First of all, Nintendo has kind of prided themselves on making, in the last 2 generations, a smaller, more portable-like system. The GCN has a handle to carry to other rooms. Is one of the reasons why they said that they, put the handle on the GameCube. GameCube has a Nintendo-made portable screen, which we later found out was actually 3D, but they never actually released it officially. Then there was the connectivity aspect, which kind of ties itself to portables. or each player having their own screen, or what have you. Then there was, even in the past, Nintendo 64, before they, they kind of had the little Game Boy pack that you can plug into the back of the Nintendo 64 controller. But at the top of the controller, if you notice, there's little notches, like as if there was some kind of thing that was going to be mounted on top of the controller. Perhaps a screen. Same thing with the classic controller. For the Wii, there's notches on the back, and there's a button for like a release. Maybe that was some kind of mounting that they were planning on for a screen. That's kind of stretching a little bit, but there's some more clues. There's also separate, in Japan, hookup kits. I think they're called, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but they were, let's see if I can, migration kit is what it's looking like. They're called over there in Japan. They're basically, you buy one of these kits and you have the cables already set up for another television in the house or at somebody else's house, so that you can take the console to another television quicker. And then there's tons of quotes from Iwata, Miyamoto, even Reggie talking about at first, before the Wii even came out, and it was just called the Revolution, hooking it up to a PC monitor, suggesting that it was just going to be more than just being a TV thing. That actually never happened, and they only talked about that once. I think it was Iwata specifically that said. There was other quotes too about not being tethered or restricted to a television, and there's been other subtle hints. So those are the clues. But okay, so with the ability to stream full games straight to the controller, not only does each player potentially have their own private screen, as well as a VMU, heads-up display, social communication, potentially touchscreen content, but they aren't restricted to the television that their system is hooked up to. An example of why this could be a good thing, like if someone wants to use the television that they're currently playing the game on, they can still play on the controller screen when that person takes over the television. Or if they're using television for something else simultaneously, like, some people are watching a TV show and during the commercials they go down and, they pause their game and they go down and they play the game. They can do that. They can still play the game on the controller screen in this case. Or if they simply want to move to another room in the house without unhooking and rehooking their system to another television, they can still play on the controller screen in all those examples. Another example, in an atmosphere like a WLAN party, a wireless LAN party, or like a sports bar or cafe setting, as the rumored project's name suggests, it's called Project Cafe. Patrons, guests, visitors could potentially join in on games in progress simply by grabbing one of these controllers with the screen built in. Furthermore, beyond that, we all have seen the videos of Johnny Lee doing the head tracking. When the 3DS was rumored to happen, they had that DSi software that did head tracking as well through use of the camera. But with that, there's more that could be added to having a built-in screen for each person. I mean, if each person has a personal screen plus a front-facing camera, as is rumored with this controller, you can do head tracking and thus pseudo point of view 3D. Watch those examples of the DSi head tracking and Johnny Lee's idea for head tracking with the Wii, to give you, an example of how that could work. As the perspective changes, things go pseudo 3D for the person who's viewing them. With each player having their own screen and camera combo, head tracking for each player is now a reality. before, you know, if it was just on your television screen, only the person that was being tracked would actually feel that or see that pseudo point of view 3D, you know, effect. Whereas, you know, if each person has a screen, then they'll all feel it, you know. Then there's a newer rumor that actually suggests that that's true, from a Ubisoft developer working on Project Cafe games. Now, this is a newer rumor, and it's not really widespread, and it could just be false or whatever, but, you know, take a look at it, look it up. It's kind of interesting. And together with that, this also clears up, it's really confusing and conflicting. This was the problems that I was having as I was doing my little doodles for the next-gen controller, was whether there's a sensor bar built into the controller or not. The purpose was unclear. As it's worded, some say it is in there, some say it isn't in there. When this controller screen set up as a sensor bar on top of the television while it's recharging, for example, for motion-based gaming, its camera can be used for player tracking, allowing your TV to give pseudo point of view 3D as well as an iToy/Kinect like controls as well on top of that. Which in turn clears up another conflicting and confusing rumor about how it has better motion controls than Move. I mean, I don't know how you could have a better, if it's a big giant screen in your hand, you know, it's not a big giant screen, but it's a big, it would be a big for a controller, especially for a motion controller. You don't want to be throwing that thing around. There was a lot of confusion over that. Well, maybe now there's no confusion if what I am suggesting is true, that, you know, you have a separate set of controls for motion controls, and then you have another traditional controller that has a screen built into it. Well, when you're having motion control type games, you would set that screen controller as your sensor bar, since it has the camera built into it, and bam, you know, that acts as the sensor bar while it's recharging and while you're doing like multiplayer motion games with friends or family. For more on that, I would say tune in next time to more of my speculation in the next video that I'm going to be doing for potential features, motion control setups, and the overall layout of the supposed controller for Project Cafe, the rumored successor to the Wii. Thanks for watching.